A warm good afternoon to one and all. Thank you for joining in Homeopathic Musings. Homeopathic Musings was a platform that was founded by Doctors Preety Shah and Dr. Prajakta Vaidya. And this was started as an online a platform just for the growth of homeopathy. It is completely free of cost, that is held on first and third Saturdays of every month. Various practitioners, be it freshers or experienced practitioners, they benefit out of this. I'm very excited to share with you all the upcoming modules that we have. The registrations are now open for ammonium and acetate group. This will be held on 17th September, 24th September, 1st and 8th October. It will be conducted by Dr. Ajit Kulkarni. And the exciting part is that he will be joining us live also today. He will be taking the group of ammonium and acetate. And as you all know that this is a very rare group that we do not have access to material. So it is a unique opportunity for you all to grab on and register for this. Next, in the month of November, we have the session which will be conducted by Dr. Shekhar Algungi sir. It will also be a 4-part session and he will be covering conception to birth remedies, that is from row 1 and row 2 of the periodic table. Next year, we have something really exciting for everybody, and that is the plant module, which will be covered in depth in the whole year of 2023. So as per the reviews that we have received from basic course participants, we have planned to get this module on board. And we have Dr. Preety Shah, Prajakta Vaidya and Reni Shah who will be leading the program. Dr. Mahesh Gandhi sir will be the chief mentor of this program. Towards the end of the module, we will also have an in-person retreat where you can learn the plant module in tune with nature. And Saturday musings, as we all know, every first and third Saturdays. You all can take a screenshot or we will be sharing it in the chat box. So I'm very excited to call upon our speakers for the day, our very own and beloved Doctors Prajakta Vaidya and Preety Shah, who will be taking the Boidae group for us. And we all know that Boidae group is not a very commonly used group among the reptilian kingdom. And we got this opportunity to learn from the experts themselves who can share their clinical knowledge with us. And Doctors Preety Shah and Prajakta Vaidya are a dynamic duo among the younger generation. They are really popular as teachers, and they are popular both nationally and internationally. They consider Dr. Shankaran sir and Dr. Gandhi to be their chief mentors, their key teachers who've been inspirational in their journey. The heart and soul of Healing Harmony Clinic and also the Karwan retreat that we conduct. They are also popular for the musings that we do on first and third Saturdays, as well as a lot of modules that are being conducted. The most popular ones have been the mammals, the mollusks, the basic course part 1 and part 2. And now they're just stepping up with their game with the plant module. So we welcome you, Drs. Preety Shah and Prajakta Vaidya. We all are waiting to hear from you. Before we just start the session, I'd like to give you all a basic instructions about the session. Please keep your lines muted all the while. You all can raise your hand while the speaker is speaking. You all can put your queries on the chat box so that it doesn't disturb the speakers. Please refrain from scribbling on the screen. You all can use our previous recordings from the repertoire of learning. The link to our YouTube channel and our repertoire is flashed on the screen. For any further queries, you all can contact us. Thank you, and over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Twinta, for this very succinct and nice introduction. Before we get started, Twinta, if you can make us the co-host so we can also record at our end. At the moment, we're not able to.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so hi everybody, welcome. As Twinta mentioned, I think at Musing we have been working really hard, very diligently, trying to bring the best of homeopathic content to you so that we can learn and grow together. That has always been our endeavor. These upcoming 3 courses are really very well curated, very thought. We brainstormed what are the topics that are not covered generally, where the literature is not sufficient, and what is really the need of our audience at the moment, and we've brought it up for y'all, curated it for all of y'all. So do register. That will really kind of help you in your journey, and it will of course motivate us to kind of continue doing this work that we are doing. Um, today what we are going to do is cover the Boidae group. Some of you all who attended the reptile session that we did last year uh, already have some idea about it. A few months back, Dr. Falguni did the remedy of the month where we studied boa. So if you all followed that, there was a lot of information shared there as well. Some of the cases we also shared during the basic course that we did. So if some of you all attended that, we did a case of Python. It was the first case that we did to kind of understand the um, level of case taking and sensation. So we've done and shared a lot of work, but this still remains one of the lesser prescribed group of remedies. Not a lot of literature available, so we thought it's worthwhile studying this a little deeper. Again, we have shortlisted in fact 5 cases. Now of course we'll not be able to cover everything today, so if the time is insufficient, we can have a follow-up session. So we don't need to hurry in completing everything today, because even Dr. Ajit sir is going to come today for some time and speak to all of you all. Okay, so we'll go slow and we'll try to understand this group. As always, we want this session to be very interactive. Ask questions, give your answers, give your suggestions, okay? And let's keep it interactive, not just a monologue, but let's have a dialogue, okay? That's the way to learn and better ourselves. Twinta and Asmita did announce that today's session is also going to be special in a bit. So what we did is to try and be a little different and a little creative, we've created a short quiz, okay? And that quiz, if you all be attentive to today's session, you'll be able to answer it, okay? Some of you all who are seniors may be able to answer it even before this session is over. But I would recommend that you all go through the session, be attentive, be here. You're not multitasking, you're not dozing off in between or making tea or, making some remedies or seeing some follow-ups while you're attending this session. So to make sure you're attentive, we have curated this quiz. It's very simple, but at the same time, it will be a good self-reflection for you all to see what did I take back from this session. Okay. And what else is that, people who submit their answers, the first 10 participants who submit their answers correctly, they'll get a flat 20% discount on any of these 3 modules that are upcoming. So, so if you want to join for ammonias, you want to join for the birth conception remedies, row 2 remedies of the mineral kingdom, or the plant module, you get a flat 20%. If you're able to be attentive and answer those quiz questions today. Yeah, so exciting. A lot of incentives to participate in today's session. Okay, so with that, let's get started. So Boidae group, and since all of you all are following us for quite some time and we've learned so much together, we'll not go into the details of what is reptiles. Now, the baseline understanding is that all of you all know how to come to a animal remedy, what are the animal themes, and how to come to reptile. This is the baseline with which we will begin today. Okay, so we'll just start with, you all know what is animal kingdom, you all know what is reptilian themes. Okay. Twinta, you can share the quiz question here so people have it already. So, if they want to fill it up during the session, or you want to be the first one to answer, they can do that. Okay, so we'll be a little competitive and remember our school days. Okay, so if anybody can volunteer to just, maybe for the benefit of the entire group, appreciating that some of you all might be new, if you all can, one of you can just volunteer, unmute yourself and say what are the basic key reptile themes or animal themes, like how do you come to animal and reptile in very short 1 or 2 minutes. If you can just say this, anybody, just unmute yourself.
Okay, jealousy, envy, competition, repulsion, fear, fascination. Those are ones that come up.
Very good, Lisa. Very, very good. Anybody else would like to add on to this?
Yes, and there is a problem outside you.
Correct.
Yes, someone or something is doing something to you, and that is the main problem and sensation. And basically, your survival mechanism, how you deal with all these things, decides what is the kingdom or the final differentiation
The
of the
subgroup
animal.
of the animal, right?
Yeah.
So now in
Yes.
reptile, what will it be, Manisha? What will be the survival strategy?
Sorry.
No problem. No problem. You're doing very good. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody wants to help Manisha?
Yeah, manipulative.
Go ahead, Mamta. Manisha, you can mute yourself, please. Yeah.
Will be manipulative. Will be deceitful.
To be manipulative, to be deceitful. Very good.
To survive in this world, because they think that God has done something wrong with them.
Correct. Very good.
They don't have any legs, so they consider themselves to be a bit inferior. And this,
very good. That is the crux. That reptiles, they don't even have legs. They have to crawl, no? So they feel they are at a disadvantage. That I am suffered wrong. Something, I don't have enough resources and I am, I'm at a disadvantage. I'm inferior. And hence I have to either hide or I have to manipulate and I have to work hard. And that's why all the other things that they do, yeah, that's why they're deceitful and things like that. Very, very good. Any last thoughts before we move forward?
Hello. Dr. Amisha.
Yeah.
Even the sexuality element is very important in reptiles, where they can use it for seduction, or it can be just a silent way of getting up to the people to get attracted towards them, or they want appreciation in some hidden way, like in Naja, where they try to do the duties for the house people or decorate their homes, where they are strategizing of plotting to get that appreciation from them, and use the seduction method in a very subtle way.
Correct. Very brilliant. So Naja uses duty. Can you give one more example? For example, what will Lachesis do?
It will dress attractively, or it will be very, even very exposed types of clothes, where she's exposing her self in a very subtle way. It's not a very vulgar or a very outspoken behavior, but it comes very, very naturally in them. So you generally don't tend to be very odd with them, but you can make out that they're trying to get the attraction or they're trying to get the attention from the people.
Brilliant. Excellent, Amish. Yeah.
And one more point can be a relation to music. If there is some, like snakes, how they they like sway with the music, or they are dancing with music. Some relation with music could be seen in the reptiles. I don't know the connection with Boidae, but the other snakes like Naja, Lachesis would definitely have some connection with music and dance.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So then our basic assumption that all of you all know, at least y'all are experts in at least this much was very, 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 very true, right? So great. Amisha, in fact, further distinguished, not just the reptiles. She was able to tell us that, different reptiles use different ways of seduction. So brilliant, Amisha. So on that note, let's begin. Okay, so I will go ahead and share my screen. So we skip the first 17, 18 slides and we directly start. Okay. So now within the reptiles, now there are many reptiles. No? The Ophidia snakes are just one part of reptiles. We have lizards, we have crocodiles, we have the dinosaurs, we have the turtles, and then we have the snakes. Okay, so today we are going to talk about the snakes. In snakes, broadly, you can differentiate these snake remedies as they are venomous snakes. They use the venom as their defensive strategy, or there are constrictor snakes. Okay. And the venom, let's say in the patient language, could be in terms of how they speak, how their remarks are, how they are talking. They can be sarcastic, they can be critical, they can be cynical, they can strike back, they can be very taunting, etc. And in constrictors, you will see a lot of themes of suffocation, of choking, of feeling lot of constrictive. So venomous snakes in general they will inject poison. They will be more toxic. They'll be more lethal. They can be spiteful, wicked. They can be very noxious and witty and cynical. Yeah. They can be very, very good orators. You will laugh at their oration quite a few times. They can be so quick on their feet. They can think. They can be very jovial, etc. They can a lot of these stand-up comedians, they can make up things on impromptu, on the go. They'll pick up somebody from the audience and take it from there. In constrictor snakes, and if you're taking that case not just from a sensation point of view, in general conversation also, words like engulf, choke, encompass, suffocation, strangulate, those words will come up even in their regular language. And of course, in deep case taking, and if you go to the sensation level, you will see these words more. There'll be a lot of theme of suffocation, strangulation, oppression, constriction. They'll be I'm feeling so constricted in my chest, my throat. They will use all this body language also, body gestures. As if it's becoming tight, it's tighter, getting tighter and tighter, as if, I'm out of breath. It's squeezing, my breath is squeezed out. And there's a lot of word grip and fasten the grip and things like that. So those are the words and the themes that you will see in constrictor snakes. Everything else, the jealousy, the deceit, the feeling at disadvantage, the seduction, everything will be there. That is the background. But you will see these themes in addition to it, over and above that, which qualifies the constrictor snakes. Okay. These are the constrictors. The constrictor snakes do not seem to have the sophistication in their anger or their malice that is to be found in the venomous snake. For example, Elapidae or Crotalus, they will be so sophisticated in their revenge. They'll be so sophisticated in how they strike and how they plan, and they will come out. Boidae will not be so sophisticated. They are not as manipulative and do not seem to be able to disguise their feelings with the attractive veneer of charm that we are used to in snake remedy. So they will not be as subtle, they will not be as hidden. They'll not be as manipulative as the venomous snakes. If they're angry, you will see that they are angry. It will be on their face. They can be what they are. Okay. Now some themes. So what we thought, Prajakta and I were discussing that we'll do some themes before, so that when we do the cases, you can pick up those themes. Yeah, so instead of doing the cases and then surprising you, because we all know we're going to do Boidae group. Yeah, so there are 3 main remedies. It could be boa constrictor, it could be python, or it could be anaconda. So we thought we'll do the theme so that you can start hearing that language and picking up those words when we do the case, instead of taking you up by surprise.
Yeah. So they are the least developed, and they belong to the mostly the docile primitive group of snakes. They have a heavy musculature which helps them to attack or constrict the prey. They grasp their prey with their jaw and then coil against it. Progressively, they tighten the grip, and ultimately there is a death due to suffocation.
And hence, if you see, from the source this is coming, this tightness, this gripping, going out of breath. The death is by suffocation. The death is not by venom. So that is the strategy.
Then they have the broad head. They have these heat sensitive pits on the side of the mouth from where they can catch any of their prey. They are excellent swimmers and climbers.
And they are non-venomous. Generally, their victims are mammals or birds. They eat very infrequently because they take a long time to digest. So they will swallow the prey whole. No, we've all seen these movies like Anaconda or even Mowgli, for example, where there's Nagina, so, or Harry Potter. Yeah, so all of us know, or those of you who are really impressed by National Geography and Discovery and Animal World, all of us know what these snakes are like. They're huge, they're gigantic, and they swallow the prey whole. Yeah, they don't have thermal regulation. They have to be in the sun for a long time. They lay 15 to 100 eggs and brood them. They can brood, in or near the water. They are warm-blooded prey, sharp, backward pointed teeth. They grasp their prey with the jaw and then coil, and then we spoke about it. Prajakta already described. They can be very lazy. When they are on a mission, they can be quick. But once their mission is over, they can really bask in the sun and, just be one of the most lazy creatures. They're less developed than the other snake groups, yeah. So they have not yet developed the poison. From an evolution perspective, those who follow the personal evolution method, they are less developed than Elapidae. They are less developed than Crotalus. They have not yet evolved to a stage where they can be so sophisticated that venom is there. They don't have to do all the hard work of coiling and suffocating, etc. So they are much less developed. So what they're trying to do is they're trying, in patient language, what does it, you can translate is that they're trying to make an identity. They're trying to make relationships. They're trying to prove themselves. Unlike Elapidae or Crotalus, they know who they are. They're much more adult. Yeah, so they are much less developed. Oftentimes, these constrictor remedies, they have a background childhood history of strict parenthood or strict upbringing, where their identity has been suppressed. So there's a lot of toddler theme, which means lot of control issues, a lot of wanting to be in control, wanting to prove, etc. Lot of anal being, lot of anger which is suppressed, always fighting inside, looking passive outside. They want to prove who they are, and this proving of who I am is not the natrum identity. It's the identity of what can I do, what can I bring to the world, what can I do in my career, what can I do in my relationship, etc. It's a little more advanced, a little more adolescent identity than the row 3 identity. There's a theme of control, theme of overpowering, being controlled, being dominated by partner. Also, as I said, a little adolescent theme, because they need autonomy, they need freedom. And there's a problem with expression. So themes of toddler, themes of second toddler, themes of adolescence will be there. being overpowered and engulfed by mighty power, feeling restrained and choked by its formidable strength. That can be another theme that can come in Boidae group. So what are the key words? If you go up to the level of sensation in your case taking, you will see the key words that come up are wrap, coil, encircle, winding, and we'll show different types of cases. We'll show case which is at the sensation level. We'll show case which is just a normal conversation. We'll try and show a case which has these sensation words, and we'll show a case which doesn't have these sensation words at all. But you're trying to creatively prescribe using the personal evolution method. Okay, so we'll try to understand this broad spectrum, and we'll see how to creatively then prescribe. Yeah. So if you go from a sensation method, if you want to prescribe from that perspective, wrap, coil, encircle. When you reach the source level, it's animal, it's reptile, and you go to a level where the patient uses hand gesture, the patient is connected to the source, he will use these words: squeezing, constricting, strangle, tighten, choke, out of breath, as if it's closing in on you. So again, repetition a little bit. Toddler, learning self-control, will formation, willpower, determination. I don't want to foil. A general desire to do things for themselves. I will do it my way. And if the opposite of it is, if they're not able to do because of the restriction, or if because of not enough encouragement from the parents, or feeling punished, for example, they will go into the opposite. So there could be opposite theme. They can have a lot of shame, they can have self-doubt, lot of criticism about themselves, and lot of anal issues. So again, punishment will if they've received a lot of punishment in the childhood, for example, so what will happen? The free will goes away, lot of fear comes. And then fear can make a person regress. And then that regression, what happens? It undermines a person's sense of self and ego identity. And that's how the person can get stuck at the level of toddler stage of development. For those who are new to these words, these concepts, go back to some of our videos. Some free videos are also there on the YouTube channel, which will tell you the basics of these contemporary methods of sensation or even personal evolution. What are the themes that we'll see in the Boidae group? You will also see, unlike a lot of Ophidia group, Boidae group is very, very maternal. They will be docile, slow moving. A lot of themes of shivering can come up. Patients can use words like today morning only I had this, the 11 o'clock case. She said, it's as if a current, from up, down, my entire body starts shivering. This is also another thing that they can do. For example, python, when it's basically, when they lay eggs, and when to bring heat to the eggs, they will shiver to generate more body heat. So this shivering is a very, very important source word that can come up in the Boidae group. They can digest anything, entire carcass, full thing they can. They are one of the best snake moms. Yeah, it's written here already. Python mothers stay coiled around the eggs and protect them and shiver. The shivering will generate more heat. They are solitary. They are ambush hunters. That means they lie in wait and strike quickly. They can be good climbers. They can be good swimmers. People are sluggish and indolent, can get quickly stirred into activity when the situation demands. Okay, so these are some basic themes of the Boidae group. Okay, so now let's understand this group through cases and then try and differentiate different remedies within the group. Okay, so we'll start with the first case. Okay, I was handing over the mic to Prajakta and she reminds me that I'm going to do this case and she'll do the next one. So, okay, the first one, I think we have presented it some time back, but we'll nevertheless repeat it because it's a very short case. in terms of history, but it covers these general basic themes. So we'll start with a case. Some of you might have seen it, so you all will have to pardon us for that. But we'll nevertheless do it so that at least some basic idea you all get. Very short case, quickly we'll do. Okay, so I'll take this a little bit to my side. The pace is okay, right? Everybody is following so far?
Yes.
Okay, good. So this is a case of uterine prolapse, asthma, severe cough, like as if it is a whooping cough, constipation, some body aches here and there, etc. This entire family is our patient. And when she came to us, the doctor had told that she needs immediate surgery. Her entire uterus was, literally coming out. When I cough, when I use the toilet, all my parts protrude. I don't want to go for surgery. Because of this chronic cough, the doctors have put me on several antibiotics and other medicines for years, but it doesn't resolve. Very, very, very stubborn cough. I have frequent urine infections. I have chronic constipation. Cough, she's living with the cough for 11 years already. Once the cough attack starts, it won't stop. And it's not very infective. Actually, we've written asthma. You can't even call it asthma really per se, but severe whooping cough, barking whooping cough, for 11 years. It's not infective. It's not bronchitis. Yeah, but just this cough. My face goes entirely red. I can't breathe. I can't talk. Involuntary urination during the cough. I have to retch and bring the phlegm out. So the first, I think, few follow-ups and remedies were given by our assistant doctors, and a lot of cocktail of remedies were already given before the patient came to us. So Dulcamara, Staphysagra, Chamomilla, Drosera, Belladonna, Sepia, Tuberculinum, Lachesis, all these were prescribed to these patients at some or other time. When Prajakta and I saw the patient for the first time, now we know the little history and we know everything. So we directly asked, what is bothering you the most? So she says, this frustrating cough, it comes anytime suddenly and it is so severe. My whole face becomes red. My eyes are bloodshot. It is so much that I can't sleep at night. It's irritating. Something constantly is hurting in the throat. My whole head starts spinning. My brain is rattling in the skull. There's actual literal movement in my brain. Like I can see this is my skull and there's a brain inside and my brain is just rattling inside. This makes me feel like I will fall down. It shakes me. Literally, it shakes me up. It has pushed me off the bed in the night many times. I've fallen off the bed coughing. And breathing gets affected. I'm a shallow breather. I've used oxygen cans. I've used puffs. I feel I'm caught up and stifled. Now, ears wide open. Maybe keep a book and a pen next to you. Just pick up the words. We are doing Boidae group. For sure. Just whatever background work we did, look what words are coming up. There's a lot of this severe cough, rattling, face is becoming full red, she's difficult breathing. Shakes her up completely, she's caught up and she's stiffened. Frustrating, there is tenacious phlegm and you are left with no breath. Literally gasping. You absolutely have no control. I feel blocked, choked, suffocated. Yeah, these are directly constrictor words right at your face in the beginning of the case itself. It is like as if someone is preventing you from breathing. Yeah, so as some doctor mentioned, no, as if problem is outside. Somebody else is preventing you to breathe. And there is heavy load on my chest. There is discomfort in my throat and the chest. It is suffocating me and taking me under his control. Yeah, very literal. Very obvious, not as subtle. As if somebody else is taking control. Suffocating, choking, no control. This is a rattling cough. My lower limbs, chest, everything hurts. The phlegm is tenacious. All my passages get blocked. I'm like an alarm power, a detonator. It can go off anytime. Like anytime it can start. Like I'm always at the verge of detonating. Suffocation cannot do anything to with my cough. I have a feeling that I'm going inside. My respiratory passages are going to throw me. It's like a sinking feeling. I just don't want to see anybody. I don't want to eat. There is a lot of uneasiness in my stomach. I cannot control my feelings. While coughing, I want to hold something, otherwise I will fall. Now, this is very important. Now, already you know there's some constrictor themes, constrictor language in the background. And then she says that I have to hold on to something, otherwise I will fall. Now, this particular sentence can help us distinguish between the different constrictor remedies. Just wearing a tight bra also causes greenish, bluish, dark pink expression. Like if she wears any tight clothes, okay, there is change, discoloration of her skin. I absolutely don't like tight clothing. It's controlling me. There is pain. It disgusts me. It frustrates me. I'm getting so irritable. Slight tapping was getting me angry, and I just don't want this to happen. It's just, I just cannot control my anger. This is hurting me. I'm feeling harassed. I'm feeling tortured. I can start abusing. I want to hurt somebody. Everything bottles up. I want to kill something or someone. I keep people at an arm's length. So we have animal themes. Someone is taking control, harassing, torturing. Alarm, detonator, suffocation, tightness, heaviness in the chest. Respiratory passages are closing in. Caught up, stifled, control, rattling, shaking, tight clothing, and holding on something, otherwise I will fall. Correct? Now, then it's a very long case and done in, so we just try to kind of make it very, very short and simplified for you all, so you'll get the general gist. So she talks about her husband, and she had a very, very abusive husband, a very bad marriage. It affected not just the wife, but all her children. There are 4 children. All of them are under our treatment. One of the child has been so traumatized, he's still struggling with psychiatric problem. Okay. So he used to abuse me, beat me, and I was so helpless at that time. I had this pent up anger and frustration. I used to feel that I'm going to suffocate to death. He was the worst nightmare for me and my children. He used to beat us. I have left him in the past several times. But now, this time, I mean, when she saw us, it has been 5 years since I have left him. He's now recently been diagnosed cancer, and I'm cold to him. He can die for all I care. Now, actually, the husband passed away a few years back, maybe. And, a couple of her children didn't even want to go to the funeral. Now I'm staying with my brother. Me and my 4 children are now separated from my husband since 2014. And then there are other stories, lots of stories. So we all know, right? Reptilian cases, lot of stories will come up. So much that she would not hardly stop. The rate at which she was telling the stories, we were feeling breathless, like, okay, pause, we are feeling like out of breath. So that kind of, it can give the constrictor snakes can make you also feel suffocative and breathless at times. So just the key gist of these stories, people are taking advantage of me. These children, they kept coming one after another. Like she has 4 children. So she's saying these children kept coming one after another. I'm suffering because of my mother. No love, no freedom. I'm a fire, but now something fire, if I compare myself to a scapegoat, I feel I am trapped. Panic, and I want to run away. I can't get back. These were some of the key words or themes came up from these stories. One incident she describes, he has got all that angry. The husband has got so angry and there's lots of resentment. Everyone else has done him wrong. Yeah? So what she's seeing outside also, everybody else has done the husband wrong. Now he's very self-centered. I keep him in his space. It's as if a demon comes out suddenly. His eyes would change. Then he's suddenly screaming. And my child comes to me. And he flings my child. He hits him so hard, it's skin and bones. I was hyperventilating. I was shaking. I was saying things from my mouth on which I had no control. My mouth was shaking. I was shaking. I was so scared. I didn't know what is going to be the next move. And then sometimes there's a lot of silence. And when there is silence, I'm even more scared. I don't know what to expect next. He would say, oh, you have no respect for me. You're back answering me. And he will start his, hitting and abusing all over again. There was a literal torture. I used to pay the bills. I used to do the groceries, but he was not happy. He was constantly harassing me. I used to shake. I used to tremble. My mouth used to keep shaking. So you see some of these key words and her experience. It's so cruel, no? The experience was very, very harsh. So we know snake at being at disadvantage, abused, being suffered wrong, suffocation, constriction, not poison. Yeah. So we know constriction, constrictor snake, we are very sure. Anybody has any doubt, you can raise your hand. Constrictor, very sure. Now, which constrictor? Dream 1. I have frequent dreams of falling from height. Falling from height in a deep blue sea. Deep, dark sea. I've seen dreams of spiral winding stairs. I don't know. With a spiral, and there is no banister. There are no like these banisters on which she can hold on to. And I'm falling down, 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 down. I can feel the falling. It's very uncomfortable. Lot of pressure. As if something is pushing me right through. And I'm falling, drowning, falling from the stairs, falling deep down. This is very, very, very important theme of one of these constrictor snakes. Besides this, there's another dream which she often gets, this dream of dirty toilets. She says it's whether it's an Indian toilet where actually you squat, or there is an English toilet. But I see that the toilet has no flushing system. And I see that I'm being dragged into that muck. I have slipped and I've fallen and I'm being dragged. And I wake up feeling very startled. This is also very interesting. Then we ask her some direct questions about animals and, just some direct questions confirming. And then we prescribed her boa constrictor. We started off with 200, increased the potency, and in between we have given him some intercurrent remedies like tuberculosis. And she did extremely well. She's still with us. It's I think almost 4 years or a little more than that since the time she's with us. And she's always responded very, very beautifully to boa. She talks a lot. She spends a lot of time with our resident doctors, but she's done so better. Her cough is almost negligible. Her constipation was very much better. Very recently, there was an aggravation. Her prolapse was, of course, it kind of took some time to kind of come back, but it was so well. In one of the recent follow-ups with her doctors, the doctor said that the uterine prolapse is absolutely gone. Yeah, so it was all her relaxed muscles, they actually became tight and she was able to keep back her uterus. So she did not need the surgery. Her cough improved. Recently, she did undergo a surgery for piles because, it was her choice and it was really bothering her, affecting her quality of life. But for what she came, boa has helped her tremendously. Her outlook of life, her feeling of being at disadvantage, her 11 years, cough for 11 years, no antibiotics in the last almost 4 years, and she has done so well. Okay, so among the constrictor snakes, this case is a very good example. Two very key features of boa constrictor. One is this extreme fear of height, and to hold on, the need for banisters. These are the people who will say, if I have to walk down the stairs, I have to hold the banister, the rod next to the stairs. They feel extremely toddler group, no? Toddler stage of development. They feel very uncomfortable with heights, with spiral stairs. There's a lot of fear of falling down, and they need to be wanting to be in control. This is to hold on to something tightly is one of the key indications for which boa was given to this patient. Okay. So I'll pause here before we go to the next case to see if there are any questions or comments. The homeopathic name, the remedy is called boa constrictor. I'm not sure if there's any other name, but you can get the remedy with the name boa constrictor. Why piles didn't improve? She never had piles. I mean, maybe she had, but they were not symptomatic. It was non-bleeding piles, but it didn't improve. I mean, why it didn't improve, I don't know. Maybe it could have gotten better if she gave us more time. But it was her choice, basically, to then kind of not wait to get the piles operated. She has a lot of disgusting feeling. So for her, the piles was also very dirty. She did not like it to be there because they were a little protruding. So I would imagine if she waited a little more, it would have gotten better, but she didn't choose to wait, and which is okay, I feel, How often the dose was taken? The dose was given, we began with once in 15 days. Sometimes the frequency had to be increased to once a week, sometimes once a month, etc. So it kept changing throughout the course of the treatment. We'll study Dr. Bhavish Kumar. We'll study boa. Like we'll do some more cases, and then we'll understand the rubrics. Not a lot of literature is there. There's a beautiful proving. So we'll use the proving. We'll use some of the materia medica that is available, and we'll show you some of the symptoms of boa. Okay. Any other question I missed?
Yes, ma'am. There's a question. Pre-prolapse, did the patient have any GI disturbance?
Pre-prolapse, did your patient have any GI disturbance? She has had constipation. So she said she's a long-standing patient. So the cough was for 11 years. The constipation also quite stubborn for long years. I don't know exactly how much. So that was the only GI complaint that she had. And with boa, her constipation actually really improved to a lot extent, But, in the last few months, she had some aggravations, etc. Which, we tried to give some intercurrent remedy also. I don't remember which one. But yeah, so piles, she then decided to get herself operated. Anything else?
Yes, ma'am. Why chronic constipation in Boidae? They can digest anything.
They can digest anything, but they also have a very slow metabolism. They'll take a long time to digest. And paresis, these muscle, see, constrictor, it's all about tightening. So loosening can also happen, right? So it's the opposite polarity. So here, if you see in the prolapse, there was loosening, the cough, all these tubular organs were kind of affected. Any other question?
They are not poisonous, meaning they do not trouble others.
No. So generally, the me versus you issue will always be there. They will be territorial. They will want one-upmanship. So all the animal and snake themes will be there. But they are not as sophisticated, as evolved, as venomous. They're not as toxic as the venomous snakes. So they will, in comparison to a Elapidae or in comparison to a Crotalinae, they will be less toxic, less venomous. Not that they might not bother. They will have these me versus, ask Dr. Twinter how much she is bothering Dr. Twinter. So they will have those animal issues. Boa constrictor, actually, I wouldn't call it now as such a rare remedy. I think you should get it in any local pharmacy, if not Roy and Company, or maybe Dr. Twinter, if you can put out some of the pharmacy names on the chat for everybody. Do we have the animal chart? Maybe once we'll just show you the animal chart to show you where it is. When we say less developed than other reptilian snakes, so we'll just see how they are placed in this animal chart by Dr. Mahesh Gandhi. So just give us a moment while we flash it. So do you see the screen, right? So if you say vertebrates, reptiles over here, so a lot of fire element, hide, double, dual, that is their strategy. And if you see from beginning, womb, early childhood, school age, adolescence, adults, and old age, you will see Boidae in adolescence. So they have a lot of toddler, second toddler issues, as well as so a lot of control issues, a lot of identity issues which are not natrum like, which are adolescence like. So this suffocation, constricted, wanting freedom, wanting to do their own thing. So this is where lizards and Boidaes are. And if you see Elaps and Crotalidae, they have this adult and old age issues. So they are much more developed, much more sophisticated as compared to the Boidaes. Okay. Dr. Gandhi has now actually further to the basic, stages of development. As also he talks now about second ages. Okay, so this is a new kind of level of understanding and concepts that he has brought up very recently. But we've consciously excluded those because then it will get even more confusing. So once our basics are kind of really strong rooted, we can talk about it. So then he talks about how Boidae will be have the second toddler stage, young adult themes, adolescent themes. So how there are a lot of other things come up, but we'll keep it for another stage. Yeah, we just do the basics at the moment.
Ma'am, there's a question. What does it mean that they are prey or victim for mammals and birds?
They are not their preys are mammals and birds. If that was a typo, even I realized. Yeah, grammatical error in the slide.
Can you share all snakes with ages along with the chakra connection?
Yes, we can do that. We'll take it as a homework. Okay. So with that, I think let's, I don't know, Dr. Ajit is already here, Twinter?
Not yet. He'll be joining in a few minutes.
Okay. So we'll start with another case. Okay. And once Dr. Ajit comes, maybe we'll pause for some time, giving the mic, and then continue from there. Okay.
Ma'am, can we take one more question?
Sure.
Toddler's face usually full of energy, but boa is opposite of that.
Yes, that is right. But toddler has a lot of other things than just the energy, So we are not just talking about the energy. Yeah, I agree. Boa is very lazy. In fact, all the constrictor snakes are lazy. Toddler stage of development is about exploration, about learning, wanting to take the doership. I want to do it myself. Yeah, but that is the main crux of toddler, not energy. So when we say boa or the constrictor snakes belong to that, we mean that the crux of being a toddler. They're toilet trained, they're potty trained during this age, right? So control is the main thing. I want to control I want to prove that I can do. That doership. Okay, so Twinta, Prajakta, just you want to say what is happening?
Yeah. Twinta, is he able to? Acha, he is going to join. Okay.
No, but if the participant list is already 100, so he will not be able to join. So we'll need somebody to log out. Only then Dr. Ajit will be able to join in. Technical issue. Okay. So can we have, we are also doing YouTube live, right? So if you have any questions, comments, you can ask on the YouTube comments and we'll still answer it. So if we can request maybe a couple of you all to log out from Zoom so that Dr. Ajit can join us and then join us on YouTube channel instead. Perfect.
Thank you, Dr. Manjusha. Yeah, I'll just tell him to join. He was actually waiting.
Okay.
Let him start. By that. हम कैसे आए?
So we have Dr. Ajit Kulkarni sir here. I'll just take a moment to flash about him on the screen. Yeah. Thank you, sir, for joining us today. It is a pleasure that out of your tight schedule that you have made time for us. And what to tell you, I mean, Dr. Ajit Kulkarni is one of the leading homeopathic physicians of India with over 33 years of practice. He's a veteran homeopath, an academician, and a famed international teacher who is known for his contribution to homeopathy. He's famous for his innovative and novel ideas, especially integrating body language with interpretation and how to apply it in homeopathy. He's well known for that. He's also a professor for various postgraduate courses in homeopathic centers in India. And he's also a director of Homeopathic Research Institute in Satara and Pune. This is just a brief introduction. We are looking forward to your session, sir, and we are looking forward to your main session that is on ammoniums and acetates. And I think all of us are eagerly waiting for that session. Over to you, sir, without wasting any more time.
Yeah. So will you, yeah. So I'm with you, and this small introduction to you about acetate group, about ammonium group. I think we have been using ammonium carbonicum, ammonium muriaticum from ammonium group. Many people don't use aceticum. It is very interesting that we are using Baryta carb, but no Baryta aceticum. We are using Cuprum arsenicosum, Cuprum mate, but not Cuprum aceticum. So we have this very important group of aceticums. Almost you will find aceticum as an ion is attached to many cations. So this study is basically study because of a very interesting case of Baryta aceticum, which I treated, when Baryta carbonicum fell. So this was the beginning of the study of the aceticum, and the more I started going deep into the symptomatology as coming from the proving, and then a lot of logistics which are involved, a lot of correlation between cation and anion. I was able to present to the profession the structuralization, the conceptual image of the acetate group, which I first presented also in my body language book. And then I also expanded it. And now I will be in a position to offer you what exactly this group has to say to you. in terms of symptoms, in terms of clinical application, in terms of pathophysiology, in terms of doctrine of signature. And while presenting acetate group to the profession, I was also able to understand the relationship between cation and anion, positively charged, negatively charged, taking some you see charge from any other cation, negative energy, positive energy. And I was really interested in understanding now through this chemical understanding, how I can relate this with the Materia Medica. How we can see that, yes, this is positively charged. So what do you mean by positively charged? How will you explain this in terms of will, drive, and motivation? How you will understand the pattern of the energy with a person where you are thinking of positively charged, where you are thinking of negatively charged, where you use a word in order to be positively charged, it has to take some inputs from the other sources. So this is just a sentence in the chemistry. How will you understand this sentence? So this study has been presented from this standpoint. And there is a wide scope to study in this way all the periodic table. So when we study this relationship of cations and anions, it is possible to understand a variety of symptomatology coming from the proving, and then the personality study, which we structuralize for the sake of giving a living, throbbing, vibrant human being status to a remedy. So I will be presenting to you through the aceticum with illustrative cases this concept. And I think there is a big scope to understand many metals, many lanthanides, many neglected remedies in the Materia Medica. Just open the chemistry book, try to understand the structure, and try to see whether it is really applicable. So we will deal with this issue. I will not explain to you this theme today because I want you to be eager to listen to my contribution. So this is one thing now about aceticum. About ammoniacums, this is a group which is, neglected because we have only two drugs being thoroughly proved, ammonium mole and ammonium carbonicum. There are more than 25 ammoniacums in our Materia Medica. When I went into the general understanding, chemistry, role of ammonia in our body, in nature, in nitrogen cycle, the use of fertilizers, the use of ammonia in our clothes, in our garments, in cleansing items as ingredients, I found that we are using ammoniums very much within a span of 50 years. Our lifestyle has changed so much today that we are with a lot of chemicals day in and day out. Many of them are toxic. Many of them are slow poisoners. We don't know what are they doing to us. So the study of ammonium has a linkage to nitrogen cycle, which is disturbed with modern civilized growing industrialization and the use of ammonia. My attention to ammonium grew up when I read a message in the Times of India that it is very easy to prepare ammonium nitrate in order to make bombs and to explode. So I was just trying to understand nitricum, ammonium, bomb, explosion, death, destruction. So I just went into understanding ammonium nitricum. So this cation, this anion, the basic ion of ammonium, and I started exposing This exploration gave me a lot of new concepts to understand ammoniums. You know, we have the carbon cycle in our body. We have the nitrogen cycle in our body. Many of our metabolic activities are dependent upon these cycles. When they are disturbed, we have huge pathologies. Maybe you know the remedy nitrogen. Again, very well proved. And the theme that came out with nitrogen is suffocation. So I was just trying to understand whether suffocation could be a theme of ammoniums. And I found yes. It must be a central issue of ammoniums. So suffocation. One who would like to suffocate others, like our Ophidia group. Those who become suffocated because they are vulnerable. So someone is suffocating, someone is getting suffocated. So can I now understand this theme by the one who is aggressor and by the one who is a receiver, who is getting the, you see, ill effects of being suffocated by a person. So the theme of constriction, the theme of restriction, theme of separation started coming up. Then I had a very interesting case of head injury, where he started, you see, passing the CSF through the nose. He was operated upon for this, but the recurrence came. So they sought the help of a homeopath. I was consulted and I found that he's a very good patient of Ammonium muriaticum. And I was trying to study who has used ammonium remedies in head injury. And I found that there is an American homeopath who wrote over ammonium remedies in head injury. So I opened the repertory. Repertory doesn't contain any ammonium for head injury. So we are very sufficient to use Arnica montana and Baylisper and Symphytum and Hypericum. But we don't think of ammonium. There are various types of head injuries. Head injuries are mainly of hypoxic type also. Hypoxic, anoxic type also. There is a suspension of the oxygen temporarily. There is a permanent death of the brain tissue because of stoppage of oxygen. Can we use in hypoxic, anoxic brain injuries ammonium remedies? Not only this case responded to ammonium more, but my one more case responded very well to ammonium carbonicum. So my interest in ammonium started increasing. I was using this remedy for children's obstruction of the nose. But I had a very interesting case of a boy, the stepmother, because the biological mother died during delivery. And this boy was being nurtured, unfortunately, badly by the stepmother. She used to be very harsh and rude with the child. And the child used to have involuntary urination, nocturnal enuresis, and obstruction of the nose. So I could find out these two psychosomatic reflections. There is nothing wrong with the nose. The wrong is with the mind. And interestingly, the remedy that came out was ammonium carbonicum. And with ammonium carbonicum, these two symptoms disappear. So my interest, because of these cases, started increasing. So I have been using these ammonium group and acetate group since a long time, maybe more than almost 15 years, with a lot of data, with a lot of pathologies, with a lot of cases. So I would like to share with you all these cases and this interesting group of these two. ammonium at one side and aceticums at the other side. So this is in short, in order to ignite the enthusiasm within you to understand these two groups. Now I'm open to you about questions. These questions could be on other subjects, not on ammonium and not on aceticum. Yeah. So you can freely talk with me. You can ask me your questions. Yeah.
Doctor, thank you very much. Can we ask the questions now?
Yes.
I would just like to know, I'm thinking this is such a useful tool, or such a useful potential group of remedies during the COVID problems with breathing. I'm wondering if you've seen anything apply, the idea of not being able to breathe.
Yeah. You see, unable to breathe could be pathophysiological. It may be clinically oriented in understanding the pathology responsible for this, or it could be just a reflection of the mind. In a way, I showed you obstruction of the nose in a child. I have been using ammonium carb, rather I will say I use ammonium carb not less than 100 cases in corona when I found the respiratory failure with cyanosis, with cytokine storm, the patient is collapsed, the patient has coldness of the extremities, and patient cannot breathe because of extensive pneumonia and the cytokine storm. And I found that early use of ammonium carb, when I found the neutrophil and lymphocyte ratio is disproportionate, if it is crossing, you see, 3.4, the patient is likely to land into complications. When the ratio is such that, for example, neutrophil is 80 and lymphocyte is just 5, so you can see how much the ratio has disturbed. Less the lymphocytes, more the neutrophils, patient is likely to land into trouble, likely to suffer from cytokine storm. Early use of ammonium carb in high potency every 3 hours, 4 hours helped to such an extent that cytokine storm was no more available. It didn't occur. And even if it occurred, it was very mild. Not even a single case of mine by, you see, correlating the symptomatology and the pathology with the investigatory parameters, I was able to foresee what is going to happen to the immunological system and how now the autoimmune process in terms of relentless progression of the pathology will cause permanent damage to the tissues, vital tissues. So ammonium group has a lot of things to do in a, you see, preventive manner as well as in a treatment manner. So you could use them in functional cases, you could use them also in structural cases, like all other polycrest remedies in our Materia Medica. So your question is a very good question, that it opens up such a wide field of the use of the ammonia comes. Yeah.
Thank you
I
very
have
much.
a similar question. Can I ask you
Yes.
about the pathology, long-term pathology of asthma and development probably into sarcoidosis?
Yeah.
How would that relate to any of the groups you are referring to? Thank you.
You see, sarcoidosis is altogether a different disease. It's an autoimmune disorder. Asthma is not an autoimmune disorder. It has infective, allergic, and genetic component, causative, much more. However, when we deal with complications of the asthma, mainly they are emphysema, emphysematous bronchitis. Then this emphysema leads to cor pulmonale. then left-sided heart failure, then the failure of the heart. So this is the way in which you are able to see the asthma going for further changes from the psychotic miasm to tubercular miasm and may land into the syphilitic miasm. With superadded infections of recurrent bronchitis in a case of asthma, patient can come down with a lot of fibrous lesions in the lungs, which will deprive the patient of the natural lung disease. So there is a permanent loss of the alveolar tissue. This leads to breathlessness. One of the best rubrics for this is slight exertion causes breathlessness. There are two rubrics in connection with this. First, respiration difficult. Second, respiration asthmatic. If it is really a clinically proved case of asthma with asthmatic wheezing, then it is better to take a rubric respiration asthmatic. However, the way in which these two rubrics have been constructed by Bonninghausen, by Kent, and by many other authors, the problem is that there are some remedies which are more in quantity in respiration difficult with the same set of modalities. Whereas in say other modalities, you will find respiration asthmatic contains more remedies. So as a homeopath, I will prefer to go for a wide field of the study of the remedies. So I can use both rubrics, asthmatic as well as the respiration difficult. Because in respiration difficult also, respiration asthmatic is also covered, and vice versa also. Then slight exertion aggravation is a very classical symptom of emphysema. Patient cannot walk even 10 steps. And then the more the walking, more is the progressive breathlessness. And patient has to sit down. He cannot walk. This is a very classical symptom of emphysema, which also shows the loss of the function of the biological rhythm of expiration and inspiration. So in such a case, you have to go for the set of the remedies. Ammonium group, especially ammonium arsenicosum and ammonium carbonicum, are found extremely useful. One of the best remedies from mineral kingdom for dealing with the emphysematous changes of fibrosis is stannum metallicum. In stannum metallicum, you get a very steady, slow process of the development. The tin as a metal causes the poisoning in the human beings in a slow way. Just like in arsenic, you will find two types of arsenic toxicology. The more the heavy dose, it will be acute poisoning effects. Then if you go on giving very small quantity of arsenic, it will be slow poisoning over years. So the theme with stannum metallicum is gradual development of the pathologies. So this gradual deepening pathology is very characteristic of many heavy metals. Take for example, potassium salts in our materia medica. You will find out of them, you see kali bichrome, kali carbonicum, causticum especially, they have slow progression of the pathologies. If you go still further in understanding the lead pathology, lead encephalopathy, the mind becomes, dull, imbecility develops, patient starts having a lot of delusions, and then slow lead enters in the brain, and the brain progressively, slowly becomes dull, where comprehension becomes very difficult. Why I am trying to give you this idea? Because there are few remedies which have got a slow onset. This is I call as a pattern. This individual pattern of the remedies is more individualistic in nature. I have written an extensive chapter in body language over patterns of the body language. This article could be taken, this chapter could be taken to describe patterns of Materia Medica and the repertories. And you can link them also with the individual so that you understand the propensities, you understand the behavioral responses. So repeated patterns of the same type give you the individualistic, you see a kind of a manifestation, and the correlation of them with Materia Medica and the repertory give you the remedy. This is the idea. So Stanumate is a very good idea to deal with. Then there is a very interesting remedy that is, you will find Silicea. You know, Silicea is also a slow acting deeper remedy. You know, silicosis, toxicology, is like you see tuberculous small lesions which get created in the lungs, and then patient develops this pulmonary silicosis, which is like pulmonary tuberculosis. It is not a very rapid development. When a person is exposed to silica dust, he develops silicosis after a long time, maybe after years. In a similar way, in silica, you get pathologies which are after months and years of duration, as if the pathological deviant disease energy gets concentrated on the tissue level, and then it goes deeper and deeper. So this classical example of silica you can apply to emphysematous changes in the UC lungs. The only problem is that with silica, you have to be repeat very carefully. You cannot repeat silica in a way you can repeat other remedies, because silica can open up the parrot's focus. Means if a case of asthma had tuberculosis in the past, you just to go on giving silica daily, it is not a good idea. You have to be extremely vigilant whether you will repeat or not. So this is all about silica. I repeated a case of COPD long back at one of the seminars international, and the case improved beyond expectation. I put him on silica for a very long time. I began with silica LM4 and went ahead and ahead up to almost LM15. And the more he started taking silica, more the capacity of the lungs to breathe improved a lot. He was a UC man of around 72 years of age, and I have explained this case with all the reports and everything. So there are a host of remedies if you take into account the emphysema with cor pulmonale and the UC heart failure. Now, in ammonium carb, you get a respiratory failure and also the heart failure. One of the other groups of the remedies you can think of in the emphysema in connection with this question is the carbon group. When you give a carbon remedy, it is just like you give oxygen to your patient on the basis of the law of similarity. Because in many of these cases of emphysema, you must observe that the whole carbon and the oxygen UC cycle is disturbed. And it is here you will find nitrogen also comes up very strongly. Carbovegetabilis is a very important remedy in emphysema. It improves the oxygen supply to the alveolar tissues. Carbons are also indicated for fibrosis. If you take into account mainly carboanimalis, which is prepared from the flesh of the oxen, which is very rich in flesh. So this carboanimalis is I think, at one level, it is an animal remedy. At other level, it becomes a mineral remedy. So this combination of carboanimalis is very important. Carboanimalis has fibrosis. This is the remedy which is therefore indicated for fibroadenoma of the breast in women. It is also a remedy for very hard, stony hard tumors, including the oncology cases. So the theme is that of fibrosis. And the theme in UC chronic sequelae of asthma is nothing but fibrosis. So Carboanimalis, Carbovegetabilis, Carbonium sulfuratum. These are the remedies which you must think of also in cases of emphysema. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon to you, sir. This is
Yeah.
Dr. Aarti here. It's great to have you on this platform of Musings, sir, to hear from you. Sir, I had a question. Since you spoke about the ammoniums like ammonium, ammon carbon, baryta aceticum, as you had the case. Now, when these minerals or when these salts we talk about, for example, if we take a calcarea carb, now calcarea carb is a very proven remedy, so it's fine. But some drugs like calcarea salt or calcarea mure or some drugs, so is it fine that we take the symptoms of the patients as calcarea carb, we match it, or do we take as calcarea and carb and then we match it and give the patient the medicine? How do we go about it?
Very nice question. Now see, our Materia Medica study has basically two infrastructure angles. First, proving of the symptoms. This proving is adequate enough as far as more than 1,000 remedies are concerned. About many other remedies, they are not thoroughly proved. They require thorough proving, no doubt about that. But logically, clinically, on the basis of the confirmation of the symptoms all over the world, which the homeopaths will share through cases, then you will find that it is possible that in the absence of the proving symptoms, it is possible to develop the structure of the remedy. It is possible to develop the conceptual image of a remedies. And this is, I think, one of the great contributions through the logistics. Because this is not only an imaginative logistics. It has a reasoning, it has a clinical experience. It has much more deeper than that. The general indications of the group study of the Materia Medica, which we are able to derive. Take, for example, defective oxidation and combustion is the central theme of the carbon remedies. This comes from physiology. This comes from pathology. Therefore, it is definitively related to the clinical side. So, based on this basic understanding of defective combustion, defective oxidation, what is happening to the whole body as such, to the metabolic processes in the body, to the physiological mechanisms that are occurring, and then this altered physiology manifesting as different variable pathologies, you will always find that it is possible that the general indications could be related to the individual remedies to make them more strong, to make them more applicable, to make them more reasoningly gifted medicinal action, which we didn't understand earlier. So this particular concept of going from the general indications to the particular remedy is possible. Although I personally give more importance to the individual remedy. Personally, I have an opinion that only conceptual understanding and the application of it over patient is not a good idea. You must have a correlation in one way or the other, maybe adequate or maybe inadequate, but with the proving symptoms. This is my personal condition in homeopathy. Otherwise, one day someone will come and will say, no provings are needed in homeopathy. And I think this is a great danger signal to homeopathy. The very basic structure of homeopathy, of healthy human being proving this great contribution of Hanuman should not be at stake. This is my very personal opinion and appeal to all the homeopaths in the world. Don't say this. We don't need the proving. You need concepts, you need imaginations, you need correlations. It's okay. But they cannot be above the proving. Rather, the very base is proving, and then all these concepts together to the proving data. then it becomes experiential. When you give any remedy to a prover, to a healthy volunteer, it gives you the experience of the human beings, the reason-gifted intelligence, and the repeated symptomatology gives you the pathogenetic action, being experienced and narrated by several provers in the world. So this basis of homeopathy should not be affected. So your question is really a very deep question, and it opens up so much of homeopathic dimensions that the answer becomes a very wild one. I'm just giving you some shortcuts how to enter into different fields with this very good question. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So are you still open to taking questions? I think we overshooted the time that we had asked you. Okay. So just one or two questions more, and then we'll close the question answers. So there's a question, since we were doing Boidae group right before you joined, Dr. Preety, Shah and Prajakta Vaidya were doing Boidae group. So we have a question related to Ophidia group and the suffocation that you mentioned about ammonias. So is it very important that we identify and arrive at a kingdom of a patient, and hence the remedy is more important for us to decide among whether it is ammonium group, like the mineral group, or the Ophidia groups? So
Yeah. See, this is a question related to the entry point. You can have as a homeopath entry point through several routes. Every route will go to Rome. In the same way, you can go to the remedy through the kingdom. You can go to the remedy through a small proving symptom also. It's like you are connecting mind who is able to perceive it, and then you connect it in such a way that the destination is clear to you. So you can use kingdom, you can use proving, you can use the concept, you can use the general indications, because as a homeopathy, you are open. So first question is, are you open mentally to understand the process and to catch the entry point? Yes, this is the route, this is the destination I have to go, and I have found the way now. This is my way. So in each case, this way is different. And this is therefore a very interesting journey for a homeopath. He can use many concepts, and just to see which is applicable. Not every concept is applicable at all times. So this is a kind of a perceiving state of the mind of a physician who is receptive and enough to embrace the situation and to see the whole picture in totality. Then it is possible. So you can enter in the case through kingdom understanding, through general. But you see, if you are asking me a question about kingdom understanding as a general, that this patient belongs to mineral, this patient belongs to animal or imponderability or to the vegetable, I think we have to understand also that life is always a blend. You are born with all the kingdoms together. So one kingdom can be dominant, preponderant over a system at a time. But it doesn't mean that all other kingdoms will be kept buried by the system. So today's patient may require ammonium, and later on he may go to ammonium muriaticum because he's very irritable, because he's rancorous, because he's very, very jealous and wants to beat the other people. This is also possible. So possibilities, probabilities, ramifications, they are so much open in the evolutionary journey of a human being, with the follow-up, with the journey of the life itself, that it is very difficult to strictly follow the compartmentalization of the kingdom. So I think that kingdom concept is also with a lot of entry points, lot of logistics. At the same time, one should not be rigid about it. that I think this is a vegetable kingdom, and therefore I will go on giving only vegetable kingdom. No one is born solo or mono. There is nothing like isolated with any person. Life is always, always until death, maybe after death, the blend.
Thank you so much, sir. Just the last question we'll take from the chat box. How much of emphasis is to be given to postural modalities and difficulty in breathing?
Okay. Now you see, this is a process of evaluation. The question is related to how much value you give to the postural modalities. I think time modalities carry more importance than postural modalities. All modalities are defense mechanisms. Sometimes they are successful, give you relief. Sometimes they give you the aggravation, as we see. Being defense mechanisms, they reflect the inner individuality of a case. Consistent postural modalities are important. In asthma, every time bending forward gives the relief. This has been observed by the parents in a child over years. Then this becomes a consistent modality. Once or twice you have observed the postural modality doesn't make a pattern. Pattern means a repeated behavior of the same order. So consistency has much to do with the postural modalities. In the evaluation now, in the absence of the time modality, postural modalities will carry more importance. You should take them as more for the sake of evaluation, and maybe they carry the eliminating rubric position. If you get now time modality plus postural modality, both characteristics, both consistent, it is very good. Then give importance to both together. For such a case, what I do in the repertorization, I take all the rubrics, especially in an acute, without applying any of my thinking process, either of the brain right side or brain's left side, just to record every symptom and make a repertorization. Then my creativity and evaluation begins. I have found this way of dealing with such cases very useful. Yeah, take all the quantity of rubrics, maybe 20 rubrics, maybe 25 rubrics. I have no problem. Then I will enter at a wide field. Then I will make whether this is characteristic, whether this is not characteristic, after I have thoroughly understood everything. Sometimes you can go from adequate quantity to adequate quality. And this is in line with the logic. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir has spent a lot of time with us. He had just asked for half an hour, but just for the sake of participants, he's still here answering all the questions. Thank you so much, sir. You have a treasure of wisdom, and we all look forward to your session. Sir's session will start from 17th of September, and I think this was just the trailer. In Hindi, we say "Ye to bas trailer tha, picture abhi baki hai." That means the trailer. This was just the trailer. The movie is yet to happen. So register for this session, and so he's with us. You can ask the questions during the sessions when we start with ammoniums and acetates. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us.
Yes.
So before I let you go, Dr. Ajit, I just wanted to say that today's was, of course, we all look forward to the upcoming session. There's so much to learn from you. But today's session was also so beautiful in its own ways. And I really loved some of the things that you said, that are you as a homeopath open? That is the first question. There are so many routes, so many methods. And with that also in mind, we have teachers from different backgrounds coming on musings, and you have such, you're so clinical, so thorough, you need everything, so research oriented, your research hat is always on. And I think that's so critical to do good homeopathy, to do good to our patients. So there's so much to learn. And Really looking forward to your session, sir. And I think the amalgamation of all methods to do what the patient needs, do what the case needs, which entry point this case needs. I think that flexibility as a homeopath, we need to learn from you. And perfect. I think this has been amazing.
Yeah. And I think with this ammonium and acetate, we are going to learn something, a group of remedies, which are available and we are not using very frequently in the practice. So we are going to get good amount of knowledge and then apply it to our practice and the cases. So that's going to be a very important part of this webinar, which is going to happen. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Enjoy. All best wishes.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
sir. Bye.
So what we were thinking is we're already, we had a good Boidae one case. We did the themes and, we did a little trailer as Twinta very beautifully put. I think it's good time for us to pause here rather than beginning another case. Let's pause here. And what we can do is we'll continue the Boidae learning in one of the next musings. So we'll do more cases. We did, before you came, we did Boidae themes and we did one case of boa constrictor. Okay. And our idea was to present some more boa constrictors and python cases. But I think let's do, bite-size learnings. That is going to go a long way and we'll continue the next session.
Your platform, you see, Musings platform is a very broad platform. You are with all the schools, with all the parts. So you are using the concept of totality of Hanuman.
So nice of you to say that. All right, sir. So Twinta, you're okay with that plan?
Yes, ma'am.
He's the boss. Okay. Perfect. So let's pause here and we'll continue Boidae and then look forward. So before you came, what we also did was we did a little quiz for today's session. And anybody who's going to answer that quiz, the first 10 entries is going to get 20% off on all the upcoming courses. Twinta has also designed a nice quiz for ammoniums and acetates also, so which we are going to run very soon. So that is also going to be another eye-opener to see such rare group of remedies, and there's so much to learn from there. So we'll see. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining in. And keep a watch on our Instagram and WhatsApp groups. The quizzes will be shared and get ready to win exciting prizes for upcoming modules. Thank you.